Hi guys. Okay. So this video is going to be about the rosary and how I use the rosary. So, if you guys have ever noticed, I don't think anybody's ever noticed this because it's actually a recent piece, but this is a rosary that I wear in my videos, and it's actually brand new. I got it for myself for Christmas. I have several rosaries, and before I had rosaries, I had prayer beads, and before I had prayer beads, I would actually take a string that I had made knots on, and I would just pray. I would just run the knots to my fingers. But I use these just like you use any old rosary. I think we should talk a little bit about the rosary though. So the rosary is oftentimes called the tool against the devil. Um, it is the Catholic rosary is very it's not very old. I want to say it started in France in the late 1800s, late 1800s. But the Catholic rosary is you don't necessarily have to use a Catholic rosary for what I'm about to talk about, but you can use any type of rosary. But the Catholic rosary is just something that I prefer. I don't know why. I just sort of I've learned how to pray the rosary, and if you want me to do a video about how to pray the rosary, I would be glad to do that. But you actually start the rosary with the Apostles' Creed and Our Father. Then you three Hail Marys, and then there's a blessing part, and then there's another Our Father, and then you go into the Hail Mary, and then you go into the Century, which are these 10 beads in a row. And you do that until you get to this one single bead up here. Do another Our Father, then you start the next century. And so, what I've sort of noticed about the similarities between the Rosary and the prayer beads, I don't know if you really want to call them that, because um, when I say prayer beads, I am referring strictly to Buddhist Tibetan tradition, and they also call it a rosary. So the difference between the Catholic rosary and the Tibetan rosary is what you use them for. Tibetan rosaries are used to pray specific mantras. So um, let's say if you want to do a mantra for Buddha of the medicine, they use the same prayer beats that they would use to do a mantra for from Terra for green Terra, and there's no difference. The thing that makes Catholic rosaries different is that it's just Hail Marys and Our Fathers. Not to make it sound boring, but that's all it is. Hail Marys and Our Fathers. Um, Now, really, I'm not Catholic. I should say that first off. I am not Catholic, and I don't use them in a Catholic manner. If anything, I use them in more of a root working manner. And when I say a root working manner, I use them to pray the Psalms. And so I do start them off traditionally in Our Father. An Apostles' Creed, Our Father, a Hail Mary, Hail Mary, Hail Mary, blessing, Our Father, and then I think you're supposed to start to the left traditionally, but I start to the right, and I start with the Psalms that I am saying. So I've been actually praying Psalms 23 a lot, and I'm on the third century sentient of the Rosary, so I've been praying a lot. Um, but what I like about the Rosary is it's sort of one of those things that you do to help get into a meditative state, and it's repetitive, you know. And another thing about the Psalms, about using the Rosary, is that it's an enunciation practice, and a lot of back in the day, this is what my grandma told me. Um, Back in the day when she went to a Catholic school, they made the girls learn the rosary because it had less to do with praying and it had more to do with enunciating your words. You know, they made them like learn it in the church, and they made them say, you know, Our Father. You know, they made them whisper everything, but they wanted to be able to understand and hear. The nuns When I say they, I mean the nuns wanted to be able to understand and hear when they walked by the girls. So they learned to pray the rosary. And my grandma Betty, who was my great grandmother, had nothing against that. Um, I sort of use the rosary as a prayer bead type thing where and it also does help me enunciate words, and it also does help me with memorization too. So there are certain psalms that I have memorized because I use them to pray the psalms. I mean, I use them when I pray the rosary. Um, Now that's not traditional at all. I've never seen that done anywhere else. I've never even heard of that being done. But I do think that it's a very good thing. It's a very calming thing too. Um, it's very meditative. You know, you just sit there and you pray the Our Father, and I do everything almost the same. You know, I do an Our Father, I do a Hail Queen at the end, and I just keep going. You know, same psalms, and you know, you learn different psalms to pray for different things, and it's a very common thing. Um, I do want to make this video because somebody had asked me why wore a rosary today, and I was like, that'd be a great video topic. So the Psalms are very powerful prayers. And so when you learn to memorize them, when you learn to pray them with the rosary, I do feel like you learn to sort of carry those powers with you every day without necessarily having to carry the Bible, without necessarily having to memorize all of those words. But I mean, like I said, it is a memorization technique. You know, you go through and you pray the Psalms and you move across each beat as you pray the Psalms. That is it helps you memorize it because you said it 50 times. 10, yeah, 50 times. So it is a very good thing. So this was just a short little video about why I use the rosary in my practice and how I use the rosary in my practice. Thank you guys for watching, and ashe, ashe, ashe.